I just had a couple weddings last week, and this is meant to be our dry season. It was torrential rain on both days.
Oh.
Obviously, you've got these brides getting ready and looking at rain,
I know.
and I'm just like, oh, God.
And you know, they want the sun. They're in Bali.
The bride's dads came up to going, shouldn't you have told us about this? Weren't you prepared? I'm like, I'm so sorry, sir. I've been here 30 years, and I have never seen this in my life. Even all like the Balinese, everyone's going, Tash, what is going on? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah. We have a destination wedding planner from Bali joining us, Tash Heyder, who we have worked with for over 10 years now, who really understands, one, the local culture of Bali and of Indonesia. Two, is actually half Indonesian, which is amazing and speaks the language. But three, plans weddings locally for couples from all around the world and actually works in different parts of Asia. We're so excited to have you here with us.
Hi, I'm Tash. I'm from Plan A Destination Events. We started in 2012, so this is our 13th year, and we're still as passionate as ever. The team's grown with planners from all around the world, servicing clients from all around the world, and loving what we do.
You're originally from?
I was born in Perth.
Yes.
My mum's from Wollongong.
Okay.
And that's where my nonna lives, so that's where I'm staying.
Okay.
My dad's Indonesian.
Wow.
Yes.
And so then when did you actually make the move to Indonesia?
I was 4 years old.
So do you speak the local language?
Yeah. I mean, half my family's Indonesian, and we grew up there, so everyone we were interacting with is Indonesian. So I guess I just sort of spoke it the same as English.
Yeah.
Which has become such an asset with work, because as much as like Bali is such an international place, as we said, there's still there's nothing better than speaking the mother tongue.
Oh, of course. And having that local trust and, that localized knowledge is so important. It's not like you're just flying in when there's a wedding. You actually have the base there.
And then I can also hear what everyone's saying.
Yeah. So I may not look.
I know. Yeah. No one ever believes it.
Well, you look Russian.
I get, with a name like Natasha.
Yeah. So you have seen the wave of destination weddings largely come from Australia. Now you're basically seeing it come from all over the world.
Yes.
I know it's Southeast Asia as well, like the Filipino market, the Chinese market. Bali is their go-to. India.
Yes, India is a huge one for Bali. I think it's because we do have all that space. Yeah. And often the Indian weddings are larger. They require multi-day festivities that have completely different decor setups. So you need larger spaces to have that all in place to, transform. As a result as well, you're finding a lot more niche wedding planners coming through, because you've got wedding planners now specifically for the South Korean market. Yeah. Specifically for the Chinese market, Japanese market, which is great because, again, it comes down to language.
Yeah,
isn't
that's it.
You want that direct, you want clients to feel like they can just tell you how they feel.
Yes. In terms of the weddings that you specialize in, what would you say is your specialty?
I would say our demographic is about sort of 40 to 50% Australians.
Okay.
And the rest is made up of largely expats from Southeast Asian countries like Singapore or Hong Kong. And then the rest are European. A lot of Dutch, a lot of Swedish, a lot of Danish.
Yes.
I really just want my clients to just tell me that. I just tell them to give me all the verbal diarrhea. Just get it out. Tell me what it is. If you could have anything you want. Show me your inspo and Pinterest, and then let's make that your own too. Let's not copy and paste. I don't like that. Yeah. But let's see how we can make it your own. And then add a lot of fun to it. I just think, get the best entertainment and get those add-ons at the end, like audio registries or even the seating chart, something interactive, something that can enhance experiences and make it fun. Yeah. And sometimes it's not all about the grand decor and the chandeliers and everything. It's actually about the experiences the guests are having on the day. Yeah.
With destination weddings, do you coordinate all of the guest experiences, or is that something that you have partners for? So when, say you have 70 people flying in from Europe. Yeah. What happens over the course of those 5 to 7 days if they're there?
It really depends on the client. So we have some clients that want us to organize the whole sort of week of activities, and we create an itinerary. We organize all the transport. We do all the bookings for them and everything. Others, especially with more sort of Australian clients, they've kind of been to Bali a few times. Yeah. They're like, oh, we've got our local bar that we go to. We've got this. So they're quite happy to arrange their own things. So we just handle the wedding side of things.
Amazing.
So it just depends. And then we meet halfway. So we've got some going, oh, we want to do X, Y, Z in Bali. We've seen it on Instagram. Can you just facilitate the meals and the lunches, the transport and everything for that? Yeah. And we'll go ourselves. Yeah. So
And you can coordinate. So you work at sort of every level.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. Because I think that's the thing with destination weddings. You also want your guests to be taken care of.
Yes.
And if they've never been to the destination, where do they go? Where do they stay? What do they do? Unicorn knowledge.
Have someone in-house as well who deals specifically with the venues, with the transport, with everything. So to really sort of help facilitate all of that.
That's great.
Because I know you can do it through external companies, but if we can do it all ourselves, then
why not?
Why give so many phone numbers when they can have one?
Exactly. Yeah. And they just want it to be easy. When you're having a destination wedding, no stress. So your top venues to get married in Bali, I'm going to ask for your top 5 and reasons why.
That's hard. Okay, there's one called Wonderland Uluwatu, and it's...
Oh, we like that.
Yes, it's right up your alley. Okay. Yes. And I love it because there's no accommodation on site, so you can't stay there, but it's a blank canvas. It's essentially on the Uluwatu cliffs. You've got sort of 180 views of the ocean. It's stunning. It's got the most beautiful landscaping vegetation, and it's a massive space that has multiple different areas. So every time we do a wedding there, it's completely different. Like we can style it however I want because it doesn't lean one way or the other. It's got undercover options for the rainy season. It's got open, vast spaces for dry season. Yeah. It sort of ticks all the boxes. And there's plenty of accommodation nearby, and they've got bridal suites on site for everyone to get ready. Another one that I love would be the Stones Villa. That's also in Uluwatu. Yeah. It's a newer venue. So I guess they've been able to sort of see from other venues what to do and what not to do. Yeah. And they have the option to, you can book all the rooms. You can select some rooms so people can stay on site. They've got 2 large spaces for the grooms and the brides to get ready. And they're doing what not many other venues can do, and they have an extended curfew. So in Indonesia, well, Bali at least, usually most curfews at resorts are 10 p.m. for music, 11 for villas, and then everyone's out by 12. They've built an in-house sort of underground sort of party room, like a rave cave, and you can stay on till like 2 a.m. So that's great for our clients.
Younger couples, Europeans.
Because you're like, we don't start, partying. We have dinner at 12 midnight. Yeah. So can we go out after? So that's often a great solution. Another one, I would say Villa Pamuti. So that's a smaller venue compared to the others, but it's probably one of the most sort of iconic and older venues. It really has that feel of old Bali there. Still some of the most beautiful views as well, just near Padang Padang. And you can do weddings, something really intimate. We've done sort of like 12-person weddings there, and then right up to like 80. Yeah. So it really affords that flexibility, and it's for those people who want to get married in Bali and see Bali in their wedding.
What about like a really large-scale wedding, like a big Indian wedding, a big Lebanese wedding?
You'd probably want to go for one of the resorts. So like I love Kempinski. Yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah. I mean, it's jaw-dropping from the minute you walk in. I mean, just even the floors and the ceilings.
Just, I think, even from every angle where you take photos in the Kempinski. It's one of the best Kempinskis, I believe, in the world.
Same. Yeah. Same. Yeah. And that one, I think, is great for those larger weddings because you have so many options. You've got the presidential villa, which is great for, the cocktail hour, things like that. You get more intimate. The other hotel guests are not going to see you. Yeah. You've got the chapel, obviously, which is stunning in itself. And everyone can keep sprawling out onto the lawn outside with the big screen.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And you've got the huge front lawn in front of the pools. Yeah. And then for later night, you've got the ballrooms upstairs, which can fit so many people.
So many people.
And you can design that however you want, and it's soundproof, so you can have a later curfew. So I definitely like that one for larger groups. Yeah. And I'm thinking if there's any others that I can, like number 5.
A lot of the venues are oriented to outdoors.
Yes, definitely to outdoors. But I think with Bali's weather lately, is making a lot of people rethink what to provide for their venues. Because I tell you what, the marquee and tent businesses are booming. Yeah. Because the rainy season is just not going this year. Yeah. I just had a couple weddings last week, and this is meant to be our dry season. It was torrential rain on both days. Oh, wow. Sunny on either day of it. Yeah. But we had to, get marquees last minute, change floor plans last minute. Obviously, you've got these brides getting ready and looking at rain. I know. And I'm just like, oh, God.
And they want they want the sun. They're in Bali. Like
one of the bride's dads came up to going, shouldn't you have told us about this? Weren't you prepared? I'm like, I'm so sorry, sir. I've been here 30.
Like the meme that I shared the other day.
30 years, and I have never seen this in my life. Even all like the Balinese, everyone's going, Tash, what is going on? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah. One thing, people, that planners cannot control is the weather.
And I wish I could. I would be like, that would be my superpower. If I could wish for one, it would be weather prediction.
Yeah. Backup plans is very important.
So important.
But this is why we talk about the importance of having a planner that knows the local market and that understands the destination, because how is a bride meant to figure that out?
No. She shouldn't have to be there up on the night before with her fiancé, figuring out the square meterage that they need, what fabric they want the tent in, what style they want, and all the numbers. If one doesn't work out, do you have backup B, C, D, E, like for all your contacts?
But as a venue's flexible with those changes when it comes to weather, do you find that they get it?
Usually they are, because in most cases, in Bali anyway, all outdoor weddings where the party or the reception is going to be on the grass, you need to hire a dance floor because they don't want the grass to be ruined. So if they know it's going to be raining and people are going to be on the grass, well, that's going to cause mud. It's going to kick everything up. So they actually are in favor of protecting that, because it's going to take forever to grow back. Yeah. So they are definitely okay with it. If you're getting married in rainy season, they'd like to know well in advance. Yeah. But these last few times, we've just called them the night before saying, hey, we're doing this. Yeah. Like, no problem.
And you have to take charge as a planner. At the end of the day, you know, rain, hail or shine, that wedding has to happen. Yeah. There's guests there. There's things going on. Yeah.
I had one bride who was like, you know what? We're actually really fine. I'm happy to dance in the rain. I was like, yeah, but what about the ceremony part? Like, you kind of don't want to be like...
But also, you may be okay, but what about your guests? You know, like at the end of the day, brides are kind of, they get to the point where they're like, I will just roll with it.
Yeah.
But not everyone is so comfortable. And also, like, slippery and
it has
older guests. Yeah. You know, all of those types of things that you need to consider. Do you feel like the thought or the idea around, oh, yeah, you know, I can get married in Bali, it's going to be cheaper, etc., has that dissipated? Like, do you feel like people now know, one, Bali doesn't owe anyone a cheap wedding?
No.
Also, the service, the quality, the hospitality, the food, the chefs, the restaurants, like there's so much on offer there. Is it more a place where you get value for money? Yeah. Is it now sitting at a place where it is becoming a little bit unaffordable for the average wedding? Yeah. Where do you think it sits in comparison to the rest of the world?
I mean, there's several points there. I mean, I think that's probably one of my pet hates is when someone's like, you see all these Facebook groups and comments online and saying, you know, I thought Bali was meant to be cheap. It's just the same as back home. I don't know why I'm bothered going. And I'm like, well, first of all, if your attitude towards getting married is like, I want a cheap wedding, well, then maybe do a bit more research first and set your budget and see what's realistic with that. There's no rush to get married. If your heart is set on this Pinterest board, which looks like Lake Como to be, then maybe it's in your best interest. If you're not going to be happy unless you get that, wait. Yeah. Just save up for that dream wedding instead of trying to do it on a budget, because you're never going to get that look for that you want to pay. There's different tiers of planners as well. I mean, you want to have a cheap wedding, sure. You could go onto the beach. You could have like a cute little arbor on the sand and just go to a local warung or cafe on the side and have your dinner there.
And that can be amazing. And that's completely fine.
That's fine. Yeah. But what I can't do is get these images on Pinterest, which are so polished and stuff, and saying, I want that for like 20 grand. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't deliver that. Even give you catering for that. Yeah. I think what you do get, though, is exactly as you mentioned, it's value for money. So I always use this example with my clients. I say, look, you might be paying exactly the same for your bar services, but what you're getting in Bali for the same price is, in Australia, you might get beer and wine for 3 hours, and then everything else is pay on top. You're getting 7 to 8 hour bar service, free flow, including beer, wine, sparkling, 4 choices of cocktails, spirits free flow. Yeah. So is it cheaper? No. Is it more bang for your buck? Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Globally, everything's getting more expensive.
Yeah. Look, the average cost of a wedding in Australia is around $60,000. Yeah. The average cost of a wedded Wonderland wedding in Australia is around $120,000. Yeah. And that's largely due to the fact that our couples are more premium. They like luxury. They like to spend on flowers and design and decor and entertainment and food and experiences. But also they have more numbers. Yes. The average wedding at Wedded Wonderland sits between the 120 to 150. Yes. So if they're having a destination wedding, one of the motivators is maybe we can cut that down a little bit. But what's happened post-COVID is people are going to these weddings. Yes. Gone are the days of, maybe 60 or 70% will attend if I have a destination wedding. Now it's upwards of 90%.
Yes, exactly. That's what I used to tell my clients before. Yeah. They'd be like, we're going to invite like about 100. I'm like, cool. So we can say about 70 are coming. Now, I actually don't know, because you can actually be like, okay, I'm inviting 100. I'm like, so they're going to be 120 because they're all plus ones now? Or
This is the thing, right? Like, it's not actually indicative.
Yes.
Of
and
what,
you're getting more and more shocked couples going, everyone said yes.
Everyone's coming.
Like, everyone wants to breathe. They want to get out. They want those open spaces.
Yeah, because what we're finding with destination weddings is it's not just one day.
No.
You know, there's a pre-wedding event, there's the day of, some are having recovery brunches, after parties.
Yeah.
How does Bali cater for that? Do you think that it has enough to offer for the pre, during and post events?
Oh, 100%. I think there are more villas and venues popping up than there are people being born in Bali.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. The traffic's insane as a result, but it is definitely geared to entertaining the world, because we've got bars, restaurants, beach clubs, cliff clubs, day clubs, and we've got 24/7 service for alcohol, drivers, food. It's kind of like whatever you want, click, you'll get it.
Talking about traffic, so would you suggest, if a couple wants to have a destination wedding, are you saying have it all in the same area, make sure everyone's staying in the same area?
It'll enhance your guest experience, for sure, not having to sit in a minibus or similar for, sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hours just to get to somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think that's why there's been so much construction all over the island. Like Uluwatu now is just completely jam-packed with construction, but that's because they're trying to cater to everything. So you do have cute cafes, high-scale restaurants, cliff clubs, so you can actually have something different every single day.
Okay.
So they're kind of like carbon copies for each area. You've got something that ticks everything: kid-friendly places, adults-only places. So I would suggest keep everything in the one area, unless the whole wedding party is moving. So let's say you'd have your wedding in Uluwatu, you've got your welcome dinner, you've got your wedding, and then maybe you've got a day where everyone can sort of do their own thing and say, we're having our recovery in Seminyak, and then the second part of that sort of stays in Seminyak, for that, and you start that off with that sort of recovery party.
You know, we met with the Indonesian Tourism Board, and they were like, whilst Bali is so popular, there are so many places in Greater Indonesia. I mean, if you think about the hotels and properties that are popping up, what do you say to that in terms of other places in Bali maybe some people haven't considered before that might be new and hot property?
So many places in Bali that you could be choosing your weddings. They've got the Nusas, which are completely like still Bali, but just 30 minutes by boat off Bali mainland. So you've got Nusa Lembongan, Nusa Ceningan. They've got some new sort of beach clubs and everything opening up, and plenty of accommodation.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's definitely great. We do quite a few weddings in Nusa Lembongan, and I love it. I mean, it's a bit more adventuresome. You get there by boat.
Yeah.
Then Sanur as well on the East Coast.
Okay.
That's a lot more mellow. It's great for people who also have kids because there's no waves. It's it's beachfront, but a lot more chill, kind of like Nusa Dua.
Yeah.
Hotels. Sanur.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that.
A lot of Australians call it Sanua.
Oh, yeah, okay, I've heard of that. I actually met with the general manager from what she referred to, because she's Australian, as Summer Bay.
Oh.
And she goes, I call it Summer Bay. And I'm like, I would have said Samar Bay.
Yeah.
Is that how it's pronounced? You know, Summer Bay, home and away. And I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious.
It is really funny because sometimes I'll say things like, I'll say Sanur and people don't know. I'm like, Sanua?
Yeah, I've heard of Sanua. I've heard of Sanua. There you go.
I live in Krobokan. They're like, where? I'm like, Karabokan?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Ubud is becoming a huge hotspot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's flocking there. It's definitely cooler.
Yeah.
And so many luxe properties are coming up there because it's right by the river.
Yeah.
You've got these sort of layered rice paddies. It's giving that whole new sort of ethereal vibe to it. But then beyond Bali, exactly right. Like you've got Lombok, which is one of the closest islands. That's got whiter sand and bluer oceans. You've got the Gillies along there.
It looks like some of the images I've seen, I'm like, is that the Maldives?
Yes.
Like, what am I looking at here?
It's stunning.
It has that crystal blue water, like you said, and the villas, and just amazing.
You've got all the sort of outer islands, which are a bit more primitive, but that's what you are paying to go for. Such as Sumba and Rote.
Yeah.
And then you've also got Flores, which is also up and coming with all their luxe resorts there, which is the Labuan Bajo. So previously that's used to be like the diving mecca.
Okay.
And now it's just becoming a lot more luxe and people are flocking there for their proposals. That's where the famous pink sand beach is.
Okay. The one beautiful thing, I've been to Bali so many times, but you feel a real connection to yourself, to your partner, to your family, to the earth, to the people. When I went on my last trip, We had groups of people leaving and going to see priests and priestesses and having these just rebirthing and all of these things, which I think Bali is very spiritual in that regard.
Yes, there's like a soul magic there.
There is a soul magic.
Yeah, you really sort of reconnect there. And that is why so many people come back and see it as their second home.
Yeah.
And they want to have their special milestones there because they want something to tie them there forever.
Yeah, and have that memory.
Yeah.
Which is so special.
Yeah, it really is.
The most challenging wedding that you've worked on?
I wouldn't say I have one particular that's challenging, more so the unpredictability of Bali.
Okay.
So we can never tell you with certainty about what time things will happen or arrive. If you're getting things shipped in, have no idea what day that will be.
Yeah.
They'll say tomorrow. Tomorrow could be literally tomorrow or next week.
Yeah.
So that's a huge challenge. One wedding that we did, we were doing it in Nusa Lembongan, which you still have to bring over all your equipment. So we hire whole boats to bring over furniture, generators to power the place, everything.
Wow.
And one wedding, we hit some waves, and the whole generator fell off the boat and sunk to the middle of the ocean. Wow, so we have no power now. You have to have that attitude of just go with it. So as a planner, you cannot be as rigid as you might want to be in other countries where you can say, this is how we operate, this is how it's going.
Yeah.
Mama Bali has her own like life force.
Yeah.
You go with what she gives you.
Yeah.
Is she going to give you those rocky waves? You're thinking, great. So this is an opportunity now for me to make some connections on the mainland and, Nusa Lembongan of who does supply generators. So we can rely on that next time. You wouldn't normally do that.
Yeah.
So you've got to see the blessings in each.
It's such a great attitude to have, turning that struggle into this is a new connection or a new way of us being able to manage and do things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the generator provider was pretty upset. He didn't insure his things.
Of course. I can imagine.
So that was sad. But definitely you have to see the positive because things will go on a wedding anyway. Things can go wrong. They will go wrong every single time. It's about how you sort of pivot.
Manage it. In any part of the world where there are less rules.
Yes.
You cannot be bound by rules.
No.
And so it's the same thing in parts of Europe, in other parts of Asia for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know what, I need to get that chandelier up at 2 a.m. and I need to figure out how to, get a scissor lift in here. Well, I'm just going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Whereas you try and get that done in the US or Canada or Australia and you have to have signed 10 waivers. There's that risk and reward ratio, I guess.
Oh, I tell you what, like when we're setting up and stuff, the boys are like not even wanting to get drunk in the pool. Half the boys, like the groom and all his mates and the fathers are all watching our setup because we've got guys on like bamboo, like makeshift, like ladders, putting up lighting with no one holding them. And they're all just watching it like it's a David Copperfield show.
In awe.
Yeah,
they are magicians.
They're like, how is this legal? How can you guys do it? It's like, this is the way we do it.
Yeah, this is the way we do it. Yeah. I know in India, my goodness, the things that I was seeing in the builds that I was being shown by some of the designers there, I was just like, the reason why you guys can do 2,000 pax weddings and build a fortress, like the Olympics of weddings, is because you have the manpower and you have the ability and the agility.
Yes.
You have so many people who are so fit and active that can climb on top of each other
at all
make
hours of the day and night.
It's really like profound. For couples, I think knowing that and being flexible and just leaving it, like you said, to Mama Bali, having a planner who can pivot and understands the lay of the land is just so important because that will come as a rude shock to a couple who's used to, this is the rule, this is how it works, this is what happens. In terms of payments, if a couple wants to have a wedding in Bali and they are wanting to place deposits in certain spaces and places, is it within the local currency? Is it in international currency? How do you quote at the moment?
So I charge everything in Indonesian rupiah.
Okay.
And that's because I think, I might be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, only hotels and venues are allowed to charge in US dollars.
Right.
So all vendors can quote in US dollars.
Yeah.
But to pay it, you would also need a copy, or you can request a copy of the Indonesian rupiah equivalent.
Okay.
And that's just, I think, a manpower law there. Yeah. So with regards to payments, yes, you can do it in installments. Generally, most vendors require a 50% deposit.
Okay.
And then you can pay the remaining balance either in 2 lots, like a 30% and a 20%. Some only require 30% deposit, and then you can pay it in sort of more equal installments. Yeah. It really does depend, but you absolutely need to spend about 30 to 50% to lock in your vendors.
Okay.
And usually as soon as possible.
That's good to know.
Because Bali is such a popular destination. you don't want to lock it in when you've gotten the quote. Someone else is going to take it.
Really important to note that if you want to get married in Bali and you have found the destination of your dream in a venue and in a planner and in a location and in all of the local service providers, lock them in because they will get booked out. I think it's really important to note as well that if you are paying a deposit, expect to pay up to 50% to actually lock in that service provider because the demand is high.
Definitely.
Now, I want you to talk about two things. One is, when is the season to get wedded in Bali? And two, visas.
Time to get married. Obviously, everyone wants a dry season wedding. Normally, this is between end of May to end of September. It's usually your best time to get married. They're on the shoulder seasons of what is the dry season, which is June, July, August.
Okay.
However, this year has proven that we are still getting not just sprinkling, but proper rain.
Okay.
Right until June.
Okay.
Which is unheard of. But I would be aiming for sort of June to September weddings. That's what I would recommend.
Okay.
September and May are our probably two busiest months.
Amazing, which is quite different to the Australian market, the US market, and Europe as well, to have May and September.
Yeah.
Which is great for people who can holiday during that time.
Yes.
If you don't get married in high season, do the prices change?
Yes. So for a lot of venues, at least, you can they sort of bracket their prices based on season. So you could still come in low season, but if it's over Christmas, for example,
well,
then
still
just
going
season prices.
Yeah.
So it is worth looking at the prices for venues. Now, for vendors, they don't really change their price seasonally. However, just like having a wedding in a weekday, having it in lower season is going to increase your chances of actually getting the vendor you want because there's less competition for it.
Absolutely.
So I actually encourage weekday weddings.
Yeah.
I mean, every day's a Saturday in Bali.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
I love that. Every day is a Saturday in Bali.
Visas. So it's required for everyone entering Bali to get a visa. So normally the typical one for a tourist, which most couples would come on, is a visa on arrival.
Yep.
And that's extendable to sort of 60 days, from 30 to 60 days. For vendors wanting to come, this is really tricky.
Yeah.
So as of right now, and things are constantly changing, which is why it's really hard for us as planners as well to give the right advice. Because I know how important it is. You might have a specific vendor that you're just in love with. Photography is a huge one.
It is.
I mean, that's what you're going to remember the rest of your day by.
Yeah.
So it's not technically legal to bring in an outside vendor.
Yeah.
Except for those in the music industry. So you can bring in musicians, bands, DJs. There's a special visa for them to come in, and it's the artist visa.
Okay.
And it's all kinds of performances and that kind of thing, which is great because there's some great acts worldwide we can bring in. But the ones that are really, I think, makeup artists and photographers, those are ones that I really think they should be opening up to, because I don't think it's taking away work from the local, which is the whole premise of having these visas. They want to keep it to people who are actually from Indonesia, which I love and I get, supporting the local industry. However, working with in collaboration with some of these local talent, it's only going to open the portfolio for both sides.
Yeah.
I just think that it can showcase the wedding to a much wider audience if that's their goal, It's definitely more of a gray area. They've opened up one visa just recently, which doesn't technically cover photography, but you can kind of come in as an art director and sort of direct the shoots.
Okay.
So that's okay.
And then potentially work with locals.
Yes, work with locals.
Facilitating the work.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, we attended the first Indonesian wedding conference that took place last year. One of the biggest things that we are championing for is that, because I think what it does is it puts a lot of pressure on the planners that are actually based in Bali, because they're the ones that are having to negotiate between what the couple wants, as I really want this international photographer, I really want this international makeup artist. And guess what? They're the type of couples that, one, obviously can afford to fly in these partners, and they tend to be more of the top echelon weddings.
Yes.
And so you don't want Bali saying no to that.
It's a trickle-down effect.
Yeah.
They're going to spend more in the community.
That's exactly right. I think Bali is one of the few places in the entire world that can service anything from a budget wedding all the way through to an ultra-high net worth clientele.
It really can.
And it is equipped for different cultures, for different cuisines, from Western to Eastern.
Yeah.
And it can accommodate that locally, and also because English is a second language that is very much spoken by a lot of people, the international market coming in love working with the locals. There isn't this friction.
No, there's no friction at all.
Which is amazing.
And I have to give credit to the Balinese people, because they are such lovely, humble, like they're really artistic, welcoming,
Yeah.
and they actually really thrive on collaborating with other people, working. They want to show each other, like, oh, what's your work like? What's your work like? They enjoy
They're very
that.
collaborative.
Yes,
Yes.
they love it.
Yeah.
And even sometimes on Threads, I just see so much animosity between like planners and photographers and stuff. And I've actually asked some people, sorry, can you tell me what it's actually like working where you are? Because I don't have that with my team. Like whenever I plan a wedding as well, like we'll have obviously a bar from X company, catering from Y company. Everyone's from a different company. And as soon as we get to the wedding, we have one goal. That's the happy client. Let's just collaborate and work together. So you've got like the bar people helping the florist like move the wedding.
I know.
We've got me getting like stuff for the makeup artist, you know, running across there. So
it's a community effort.
It is.
It really is amazing. It's a testament to the Indonesian culture, I think.
It really is.
So if we had one message to share with the Indonesian Tourism Board, because we will send this to them, what would you like them to hear from you as a luxury and a cultural and a destination wedding planner who lives and breathes and works and has been raised in Bali?
I think you really just need to open the doors or have some leniency on collaborating with international vendors. Don't just limit it to music. And whether there comes with, you know, like contingencies like, okay, international photographers are now allowed as long as they partner with a local partner. Whatever that might be, I just think that it works for both. You know, the photographers or the makeup artists, whoever it is that's coming, they get to shoot under such a beautiful location. They can showcase Bali to the world, increasing the chances of more people wanting to come, which is going to serve the Indonesian sort of, well, at least the Balinese economy. I just think it's a win-win-win and no one's missing out on work, especially if you make it some sort of collaborative effort because everybody wins.
Yeah. A lot of couples today want to have a destination wedding, but they don't know where. They don't know the cost of things. They have no idea. Like you said, they jump on Pinterest. They see Lake Como and they think, I want to go there. Lake Como is amazing, but it is one of the most expensive places to get wedded. For those who are thinking, I want to have a destination wedding, I don't really know where. I have thought of Bali.
Yeah.
What would be the number one thing that you would say to them that would win them over?
Because there's nothing you can't do there.
Okay. I love that. There's nothing you can't do.
No.
Every day's a Saturday.
Yeah. It really is a wonderland for weddings.
Yeah. I know that you work with international planners who bring in couples as well. From that perspective, what's your thought process around, you know, these US planners or UK or Australian or European and Asian, obviously, like we said, Korea and China and the Philippines, wanting that local to work with. How do you work in that capacity? And what do you want to say to them from a partnership perspective?
I mean, we're totally open to it. And I think it's, you can't see it as competition again either because, again, it's a community. We're currently planning one in Vietnam. And if I didn't have like some great colleagues and things to work with, well, then my client couldn't really get married because she doesn't want to. She's already spoken with me, wants to stay with me. Yeah. But I can't necessarily be there at the same time I'm doing weddings in Bali. Yeah. And it's having that really brings it all together. We can give our clients a better experience and spread your abilities.
Local collaboration, global collaboration.
Yeah. It just ties us closer together.
Yeah, because obviously you've worked with Wedded Wonderland for some time now. What has your experience been working with Wedded?
Yeah, it's been many years now.
Many years. I think it's like close to 10 years.
Close to the very beginning because I think we were both around 2012 or whatever it was. I get so much inspiration as well from what you guys share and the interviews you share and this Wedded network that you guys have launched. I'm like number one fan. I've told like your team as well, who I speak to all the time. I'm like obsessed with this because I've loved connecting with people around the world. Like I'm going to Europe next month. And already we've got so many other planners or other vendors that I've connected with. They're like, hey, Tash, if you're in this area, please, would love you to stop by, sort of see like what inspo, how we can work together. Yeah. And I think that's great because like I said, I do have such a large demographic of European clients. It's not all of them can come because the multiple transit stops to Bali. That's just one thing for further away. To those with younger kids or elderly guests, it might be a bit more challenging. So, you know, if they wanted to actually enhance that and say, okay, we do a more intimate wedding with you over there, then at least I've got the contacts already now to sort of do that for them. And we bring everyone over to Bali for the big reception. Yeah. So I'm loving that direction. The concierge is a great way to sort of filter out all those direct questions specifically for weddings rather than comments and likes and things like that. So I love it and I love your team. I love everyone here. It's just such good vibes.
The first place that I traveled after COVID in 2022 was to Bali. Yeah. And I actually met with the Indonesian tourism minister.
Oh, yes.
And I interviewed him. And as soon as he heard the Australian accent, he was like, you know, we need the Aussies back. We need you guys to come back. And seeing the hotels and the resorts, the state that they were in. And I thought to myself, we can't just sit back and go to these places and have our wonderful times and then kind of go, oh, well, let's just leave it to see what happens. We are a platform that is global since day one. We want to service the industry. We also want to service our couples, and we want to make sure that that option is always available for them.
Yep.
Because having a global concierge, let me tell you, my team has been working around the clock. We've received thousands of inquiries.
Only imagine.
It's insane. Like, I'm in the Philippines. I want to get married in Dubai. I'm in the US. I want to get married in Bali. I'm in Sydney. I want to get married in Lake Como. And it's just... And it's amazing because when you see those inquiries and you can see the budgets and you can see the requirements and you can see how detail-oriented couples are. And I think when they jump on Instagram, they're so confused, right? Because they're like, what am I doing here? Everything looks amazing. Who do I actually book? We see these posts from brides where it's like they've ended up in these nightmare situations. There was a bride who had booked a florist. The florist was no longer allowed into the venue because the florist for the past couple of weddings was not delivering to the client's requirements, was setting up really late. Half of the work was done. And so the bride had lost a deposit with the florist. And the first thing was, did you vet the florist? Did you ask for those testimonials? Have you seen their work in the past? And when you're planning a wedding on the other side of the world, how are you meant to do that?
Yeah.
How are you as a couple meant to go, that's the planner I should be working with?
And also trusted the photos they're sending you. It's their work.
And now with AI, I'm sorry, like there is no way you can tell a luxury wedding from what's being produced in AI is real or not. We want to work with planners who want to collaborate, who have this mentality of abundance. Some of them who are just starting out know that they need to put in the work. They need access to the education. They need access to the connections. Those who've been in the industry for 5-10 years plus have these inquiries coming through. They want to be able to service them. And they want to make sure they're working with the best.
Well, we have quite a lot of inquiries of people saying, hi, I'm just acting on behalf of my client, this and that. I'm like, yeah, cool, shoot. What do you need us to do? How can we help you? And I have to say, and going back to the whole visa situation, the one thing that I think would stop a lot of international planners and organizers to collaborate in Bali, at least right now, is because a lot of the vendors they're choosing to bring over cannot legally come. And so that, I think, we connected with another recently with you guys last year. And there were just a few things that I felt like such a bad person being the bearer of bad news, saying, you can't bring that photographer unless they do X, Y, Z. You can't do this and X, Y, Z. And no couple wants to hear no.
And this is the thing. Hello? Government, Indonesian Tourism Board, you have to understand these inquiries are coming through for multi-day weddings.
And it sounded like such a fun wedding. And I said, look, we can do what we can, but if you're happy to go with our local talent. But once you've got your mind made up on who you want that, right?
We need to do everything that we can in our power because we do work with a lot of tourism boards to say, open up. It will create more opportunity at the starting point. From a network perspective, with the Wedded Network, connecting with people around the world, you are going to be given opportunities. You are going to learn from each other. And you then are not just working in your localized location. You might have incoming inquiries from different parts of the world, and you may have couples that you know are coming from Europe that then can be that planner's next event.
Yes.
Right?
And it works for the Indonesians too, because they might be working with an international photographer who's come, who might actually love their work and say, hey, do you want to work with me on this next one?
Well, that's it. This is how it works.
It can still be elite and exclusive and work a certain way and to the aesthetics and to the model that you've built your business, but it doesn't hurt to also invite others in and say, hey, look at what we're doing. Would you like to join us on what we're doing?
That's exactly right. For the concierge, I'm going to ask a couple of questions because the team have been asking, at what point do we make the introduction to the planners, to the venues, to the vendors? Because we go backwards and forwards with these brides a lot. They give us a lot of information. What do you need to know upfront to go, okay, I can service that couple?
I need to know number of people, obviously, budget. And that's not for us to be like, yes, we can take you, no, we can't. Just to see if what you're asking for is realistic in terms of what you're asking versus what you can spend. Area of Bali you want, and also like a mood board. I mean,
that's one thing we've been asking for, because so many brides don't think that they need to give that up front. But I'm like, without understanding your style, your budget means nothing.
I need to know what your concept is. What are you imagining? Because then I can tell you how far that sort of, 20, 30K on decor is going to take you. And also it's going to impact the venue, I might suggest for you, because that's, at the end of the day, your venue is your palette. And your decor is your paint.
Yes. I love that. Your venue is your palette and your decor is your paint. I've never heard that.
Because if you've got something really minimalist and quite sort of bare, well, then you might want to fluff it up a bit more with like grand florals and warm lighting and that. When you've got something quite lush and very Bali, well, you might want to focus more on keeping the lighting minimal and just highlighting the natural beauty of the actual landscaping on the property.
Yeah.
So it does make a huge impact.
Guys, you have to lead with style. This is something that we really is quite new, I think, for couples to consider.
Yeah.
That Pinterest board is not just what your flowers look like. It is the location. If you have a venue that already aesthetically aligns with what you want, you may save on decor and may be able to put that towards entertainment or experience.
That's what I always tell them. I'm like, let's see where we can move your money around and see what we can spend on to get the most out of it for you.
Yeah.
And even with the mood boards, I mean, of course, in the beginning, they might say, I don't know what I like. I like everything. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, you don't have to send me pictures of flowers. Send me pictures of your favorite color. Yeah. What if you were out in nature, what would be your favorite landscape? Yeah. Things like that. And I get to know who they are. I'm like, oh, okay, they're leaning towards these colors. Yeah. They like this kind of atmosphere, and you tie it together. Yeah. And then once you've got your concept, delete Instagram. Stop scrolling.
Keep following Wedded, but just stay there.
You're allowed to change your mind, but it's more the overwhelm where they're going to say, oh, but look, for example, the bows, there's bows everywhere. There's the bows. What do you think I need to put them in? I'm like, why don't we reassess when your wedding is in 18 months time? Yeah. And see if you still want the bows there. And if you do, we can always add them in. But let's not budget for that now because you might change your mind again.
Yes. And we love the trends.
We love the trends.
But working in advance does make it tricky. And I think those last minute touches of this is what's trending right now, that's so smart to say, let's make a decision maybe a month or two out on if we want that.
Yes. That's how I would like to operate with guests. And that makes sure that they really want them. They've had all that time to keep thinking about it. And they might get sick of it by the end and say, no, we actually don't want to.
I've seen too many bows, honey. I'm done with the bows.
Yeah, it's never no. It's just, let's wait.
What does a couple need to pack for a destination wedding in Bali?
Like for the groom, definitely pack 2 or 3 shirts.
Okay.
It's humid. So I would suggest having one for the ceremony. Then you want to get changed for your photo tour. And then probably one for your re-entry into dinner.
2 to 3.
Yep. I've seen more than the bride because the poor guys are just like standing at the end of the aisle. Then they're doing the photo shoot. Yeah. And they're hot.
They're hot. They're hot in a suit.
And so obviously your wedding outfits, lots of bikinis. Yeah. And I guess it depends on where you're having your sort of pre and post. Yeah. In Bali, you can get away with wearing just kaftans every day. Yeah. But as well, it depends on how luxe you want to go. Yeah. There's really no shortage, and the shopping there is getting better and better as well. You can just pick things up. And you don't really need to wear much at all, actually. Yeah. For your wedding day, I think once everyone jumps in the pool, there's not much on after that.
Yeah.
Wedges are great.
Lots of wedges, lots of hats.
Yes.
Glasses.
Minimal stilettos.
Yeah. Yes. In terms of what is available and accessible, everything is accessible there, really.
Yeah, I would say bring your double tape.
Okay.
That's pretty good to have on you. Pack lots of electrolytes, hydrolyte, that sort of thing. Yeah. Probably more so like nipple covers. Yeah. All the little things that you might need for a get ready kit. Yes. Little mini first aid thing because you never know what's going to happen on the day. Having said that, if you've got a good planner, then you're going to have medical attention should you need it for Bali belly or whatever it might be straight away.
But things that you need for your hair, take it. Don't just go, oh no, because guess what? My hair does not look like this in Bali.
No.
As soon as I land, everyone's like, oh my goodness.
I'm Sideshow Bob there.
Yeah. What is the Friends episode with Monica? Yes. It just continues to expand over time. And getting a blow dry. Touch-ups. So having touch-ups, I think, is so important for hair and makeup.
Absolutely. So I think that's super important. In fact, I would even recommend having a hair and makeup pop-up bar at the actual wedding because not just you but your guests want to keep looking refreshed. Yeah. Even if it's just to blot away any of the moisture, reapply some of your eye makeup and get that hair in order. Let's keep it in.
With Wedded Wonderland, I'm going to talk just a little bit more about our platform. We're starting to list our venues and our vendors. So, of course, you will have an amazing profile on our website. With Bali, in terms of the venues, the 4- and 5-star spaces and places that host destination weddings, would you say majority of them are resorts and hotels, or would you say that there are quite a few that are in a boutique spaces that you would have to find on Wedded Wonderland in order to know, oh my goodness, that actually exists and I can have my wedding there? What would be most useful for couples looking to get wedded in Bali?
I would say there because there are so many people have been going to Bali for so long.
Yeah.
That a lot of venues have become the tried and true sort of favorites.
Yeah.
And for good reason. They're great. They're perfect for weddings and things like that. But there are so many new places that are so unique and really bring a different edge. I do think it would be worthwhile having a section or having your experts be like, okay, cool, you love this one, which everyone knows and respects. But here are 5 more that not many people know, like the unheard of ones that have the space for it, that actually have the facilities to cater for larger groups, that have something like an edge to it that not everybody knows about. Yeah. And just because it's not posted all the time or it's not featured all the time doesn't mean it's not as good.
It's the hidden gem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we love doing as well. Like, we know we get plenty of emails daily from new venues and things like that saying, hey, would you like to check it out? This is what we're offering.
Yeah.
And I love going to new places. Like, oh my gosh. And you've got a client in your mind going, oh my God, they're going to love this. This is so up their alley.
Yeah. Do you suggest couples go planner then venue or venue then planner in Bali?
I think if you go for planner first, I would say first speak to like at least 5 or 6 planners. You need to know and really gel with them and they understand your vision.
Yeah.
Because there's so many now popping up as planners.
Yes.
And that I'm kind of lost in. I'm like, so what do you do?
Yeah, yeah.
Where did you come from?
But there are planners who design.
Yes.
There are planners who are full service, who have production all in-house.
Yeah.
There are planners who are basically coordinators who are just there the week of the wedding and the day of the wedding. The word planner, and we speak about this at conferences very often, it's a very loose term in our market. Know what it is that they will do and won't.
I would really do your homework with your planner. Yep. And if you find one that you really, really get along with and get you trust, then they're going to be able to open up a plethora of options for you and really help. Because you might say, oh, this is the venue I really like. You might already have some in your mind. They're going to be like, cool. So she's liking the limestone look. Yeah. She really wants like a sort of more colonial vibe. Look, I've got 5 others here that you might like, which she might not know about. She might not have seen.
Yes.
So in that sense, having a planner first who's well-versed will be an asset to you. However, in other cases, you might be someone who's like, I've been to Bali a million times. This is my friend's villa that she's going to open up to me as my venue, which is not given out publicly. So I'm going to use that and then find my planner after.
Yeah, but I think the less that you know about the region, the more you need a planner.
Oh, 100%.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Yes.
You know, having you here in Sydney has been such a treat because we love working with you and the team adores you as well, as you know.
I love them. It's just, and that's what I was saying when they're saying, how are you liking Sydney? I'm like, I'm just happy to see you guys. You know, it's just because we're always on a screen.
I know, always on a screen. And nothing beats face-to-face. We do want to come to Bali, host an event for Wedded Wonderland, call upon all of our amazing partners there, the venues that we work with, and just do something really magical. We're really excited.
I'd love to have you.
Yes, so that'll be coming up soon. We are really, really excited to showcase your amazing listing on Wedded Wonderland so all the couples can see all your fabulous work. I don't think any two are the same. I think that, like you said, you bring the fun and joy that is truly Balinese to your weddings and you have a sense of place. When you see these weddings, you're just thinking, these guys are having a good time and it looks fabulous and so well orchestrated and curated. So kudos to you and your amazing team. And we're just so happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. That was amazing.
That was fun.